Hi, this is Fern from FML Diversify. Welcome back to the channel. I did a video earlier today about my experience going to the bank, the credit union, to cancel a check that I had, cashier's check that I had gotten out of my account, and I never cashed it or sent it to the person who it was for. So I was telling you about my experience with the representative and what happened in the transaction. So you can go back and look at that previous video if you want to get an update for this video. I'm coming out to do an update of how the God is operating in your life and when you know it's God. To that check I was going to have canceled, it started off where I went out my account. I was going off to the store and I was going to do some shopping, and so I checked my account and I said, okay, well, let me go and just make sure I have enough. And what happened was the account was negative. It was negative because I failed to realize that and this is all leading up to that check that I was going to cancel. I failed to realize I had made a purchase of a pretty good amount like Friday after Thanksgiving, or maybe even Thursday, I don't know. But it was something I have been really wanting for the past couple of years. So I went ahead and I purchased it because I caught it on sale. And I didn't really pay attention to the debits and credits on my account. And you know, when you have a debit or you have a credit and you're taking money out, moving monies around. And I said, okay. I said, let me go ahead and make sure before I go into the store, because I had to get an item that I needed. Lo and behold, anyway, I said, well, I got this check. I have to go ahead and do some other business. Let me just go ahead and cancel the check, because I had never sent it to the person. I was holding on to it because of my own selfish reasons. You know, when God tells you to do something, go ahead and do it. Hold on, I'm going to sneeze. Sorry. Excuse me. So I held on to it because of me. I was given a word for those who are believers from the Lord to go ahead and take care of a situation. You know, when God is bringing you, recovering your life you're supposed to be living, taking you out of, and he took me out of my old life, you know, we have to come to what they call repentance, change from our sin. So I was doing a payback to a person that this money was due them. And you never know what God's going to tell you to do. You have to be obedient and just do it. And I was lingering in it. So I said, well, wow, the account, you know, didn't know that I was going to bounce, but now they've taken the money out. And, you know, I'm working, you know, getting my monies together. I don't believe in owing no man nothing but to love him. So, long story short is I didn't take and obey God. I had the check made, but I didn't totally obey what he said because I was more worried about sin, about my future and how I was going to make it and if I was going to have enough to make it. So I just held on to it. I said, I'm going to sit on it. And I did. Well, let me tell you what happened. I said, okay, my account bounces, and I said, I'm going to use this money to clear up this account. It wasn't like $20 or $30. It was like over almost $200. And I was like, oh no. Anyway, I said, I'm going to have to go ahead, and this is what my thought was. Never know, like I said, how God works. And I said, I'm going to just cash this check and take care of this particular debt. And as I thought about it, I was coming through a light and I was turning, and it hit me like, oh, well, you know what? You'll be all right. You'll be able to pay that money. Now I'm messing with a good amount of money. And I went off and I took myself to take and get this check cashed in. Because I didn't have the check with me, the person was going to do what I said. They were going to do this lost or destroyed. And that would have cost me $35. But I'm saying to my whole self the whole time, I got this check. I think you better wait a day or so. Because I'm not close to where the place I usually bank at. I said, you know what, and I don't want them to pay them this money because I got the check. I got the check. I went ahead and I said, okay, I told them, forget it. Let's just cancel. I go and take care of it. And now the person's telling me, well, I could hold this and I could hold that. I could hold this. And I'm saying, no, just tear it up. Because I don't live. I go take care of this situation. Well, I get home. I'm in the house getting things together, working on some projects. And I get a call from somebody. And they need a ride. So I said, okay, let me go. Let me do this ministerial service. Give this person a ride. I hadn't heard from them in a while. I mean, a good while. And I said, okay. I said, I'll be there. And usually I'll jump up and I'll run out the door, to get that ride. And what happens is when I'm going to go out the door, I said, I haven't heard from this person in a while. And I'm literally, means I have to run out the door because she has to catch a bus to someplace else. Long story short is I said, I'm not going. I'm trying to call 6 or 7 times to tell her, hey, I'm not coming. Nothing. I find myself backing up to the sofa and I sat down. I said, I'm not going. Because I've dealt with this person on and off. I said, I'm not going. Anyway, the long story short is the phone rings when I sit down. It's a person calling me and they go, well, how's your money? And I didn't want to answer them. I didn't want to answer them. So they kept asking me, how's your money? I'm like, so. I said, well, and I told them, I said, well, I started to take that money. I didn't never pay them, the person, and I was just and I told them what happened. And I didn't want to tell them. So I was like, oh, man, I'm going to tell you how God works. So they're like, well, how's your money? And they kept asking me, and they don't usually do it like that person. And it's not a boo or anybody, because, when God brings the person who's going to be my husband, God going to bring him. And I tell you, he going to be checking me, and I'm going to be checking him, because we ain't doing nothing. So anyway, I said, so. He goes, well, that's why I asked you, how's your money? So I said to myself, oh, my goodness. Oh, what are we going to do here? And he's like, pay the person. And this is a good amount of money, y'all. This is a good amount of money. I was like, I got the check. He was like, don't cash it. He said, pay him. I said, oh, man, pay him. And I'm reasoning this thing out now because if I pay them, then I don't have anything left. And so my thing is, if I could do this while God has me doing something else, then I'll do this. And then he tells me, he says, pay the person and I will send you a check on Monday. And I'm like, oh boy. Now I got to trust God. Now remember the account bounced, the check, and I still owe that money. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So anyway, I said, okay. He said, take care of it. I said, okay, I'm going to go today. Now I go to get the address for the person. I can't find the address. And the person who has the address, they don't want anything to do with it because they're like, I'm tired of this. And they're like, I'm tired of this. And I want out of it. But I got to pay the person. Because the other person tells me, pay the person. And did so-and-so tell you what to do? I said, yes, they told me what to do. And I began to explain to them what the person told me. And the person was my pastor under the prophetic ministry, under her many years and stuff. As long as I did everything the Lord told her to tell me to do, God prospered it. When I, not anybody else, when I went off from what God told me to do, I sowed the seed. I sowed a seed of disobedience, which caused other things to snowball down. And I said, I'm going to take and pay it. I'm going to go ahead and pay it. I don't want to pay it. I'm going to pay it because, first of all, God sent the word. Second of all, it was given a word from glory by God's servant. Pay him. Third of all, this person calls me as I'm sitting down, and they're like, I'm going to send you the money. I'm going to send you some money. And they told me their situation to the situation. And I knew it was God. Because how could I go to cash in this check that I had actually had drawn up back in August 27th to be exactly. And I sat on it and I put it in my nightstand or my drawer somewhere. I put it somewhere. And I had a check. So I said, you know what? I'm going to take a leap of faith because when I couldn't find the address, I tried to look it up again. I heard like an address, and I believe it's the address, but I can't play with this because I have to send it, get a signed signature, and then turn around and get it back. The signed signature back, proving they reserved it and it's final. I'm sharing this with you in the giving God the glory for what God has been doing in my life for many years. Only God knows you. Only God knows your heart. Only God knows your motives. God knows your intent. I don't care if you did something 40, 50, 60 years ago, however old you are. The only one who truly knows you is God. You could know you, but then you don't want to know you. Because sometimes the things we do in our life, we don't want to know. I don't want to know that. Because I heard recently, I think it was Dr. Miles Monroe, one of the mentors, as I listened to him over the years. And I thank the Lord I had an opportunity to meet him. And meet him and get an autograph signature. So he said, I'm going to leave it. He said, God gives us opportunities. I want to make sure I get this right so you can walk with it. He said, when you have a decision to make, he said, before you make a choice and before you make a decision, think about the consequences. Think about the consequences before you do the thing to make sure that you make the right decision so that you don't have to live with a negative consequence. And me, myself, and a whole lot of people are living in consequences that we don't like. And the only one who could take you out of and bring you through the consequences successfully is God. So I'm sharing this with you to encourage you. Look to God. I don't care what it is. Because God is your source and your help and your strength. Psalms 121 and 2. After the Lord's servant went home to be with him, the Lord gave me this scripture, Psalms 121 and 2. My help comes from the Lord, the creator of heaven and earth. I'm going to mail that check tomorrow. And you know what? That'll be a closed door to a decision I made from years ago that it'll be paid in full. PIF. Paid in full. That I don't have to live under the devil's suggestions, temptations, manipulations. See, I sold out a lot of that in my younger years. And I ate them, a lot of those things. and it didn't taste good. And now that I'm be 62 in a month, the Lord has been trying to, for the past 30 years, deliver me out of the doors of sin I opened in my life, which affected a lot of people. And I want you to know that you don't have to continue to open doors, never ever thinking there's going to be a consequence to whatever it be. It is. And I want you young people to know, stop opening doors, because you don't know your future and you don't know the consequences of just that one choice that can ruin your life. Stop jumping up every time you see something opening doors. Everything, and a sister gave a word tonight, everything that glitters ain't good. Everything that feel good ain't good. Everything that look good ain't good. Think about the consequences of your life. So I'm just sharing this with you because I want you to see and I'm making sure God gets the glory for this, since I did the one earlier today about my transaction at the bank and listening to see what people are saying before you make a decision. God wants us all to make it. God has sent us here purposefully to be successful. We make the choice. Think about the consequences before you do the action. And don't go on a guess. Because if somebody had told me years ago that I would have been reaping the consequences of the seeds I sowed, I pray that I would have went the other way, because it don't taste good. I give God the glory. I give him the honor, because I'm out of that. Yet Dr. Miles Monroe says something else. He said, God gives us his laws and his commands. He gives us statutes. I'm paraphrasing all this. He says, so you don't ever have to live in regret. That you don't have to live in regret. And I'm here as a person who, a lot of things I regret doing because it didn't benefit. I thought it was going to benefit me. I didn't even really think about it. I just did it. So I want you to know today, God is your solution. He's your source. He's the one who can bring you through. I don't care what it is. God's paid my bills, my rent. He's sent people to do this, do that, do this, do that. And he's blessed me with businesses and things like that. And the biggest thing that God's been dealing with me over the past 10 plus years is teaching. It's teaching. And I just want you to know that live a good life. Live a right life. So you never have to live in regret or have to go back. You can't fix what you did. But God can close the doors of the doors you opened for his glory. Because God got the glory. He's going to get the glory even more out of this. And I'm watching God. So you know what? To be free, ain't nothing like it. So be encouraged. Think before you act. Sit on some things. Walk away from some things. But don't be stuck. Because God knows your future. Only God knows your future. This is Fern from FML Diversify. Y'all have a good night, and we will be talking with you later. Bye-bye.